Hi, my name is Ryan, the CEO of Collapse Survivor app. This was our 15th simulation scenario dealing with election violence in a form of civil war that results after the heated election. With me for today's podcast is Willa, the head of marketing for the Collapse Survival app. And we are both preppers, and we got a guest survival expert with us today, General Vallely. We are going to cover the second day's developments in this podcast, election violence, in the 2024 POTUS election. Our guest is retired Major General Paul Vallely, served in Vietnam War, and is a Deputy Commanding General of the United States Army Pacific. Welcome, General. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for the kind invitation.
Absolutely. He also co-authored the book Endgame, The Blueprint for Victory in the War on Terror, and served as a senior military analyst for Fox News. General Vallely also served as a military chairman for the Center for Security Policy and runs the organization Stand Up America US.
General Vallely, what do you think would happen in the US if an assault rifle ban passes?
Well, I think there'll be a rebellion. American patriots aren't going to give up their weapons, number one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The gun control advocates say that there's no need for, quote, military capable weapons, unquote. But if a collapse occurs and there are gangs and marauding groups of dozens or maybe 100 or more that are well armed trying to break into your home or come under your property, then you do need to have military capable weapons like an AR-15. Would you agree with that? Or?
Well, of course, the anti-gun people are going to say that. But those of us, when we look at the Constitution, we're permitted to have weapons to protect ourselves against an overreaching government. That's why it was put into the Constitution. And you could probably say any weapon is a war weapon, including a knife, including a hammer or a sickle like they used in the old days. So it's not just the ARs, it's actually pistols, it's rifles, and that's what America hunts with, but it also is the way America protects itself against criminals, against the home invasion, against attacks, and also prevents subversive elements that would be attacking our schools or whatever the institutions or individuals. And so we're protecting ourselves, and we have the right to do that, and we're not going to stop.
I absolutely agree. I do apologize for interrupting you or cutting you off there, but I always tell people that the biggest threat, in my opinion, is the government. If they take all of our assault rifles and they all have military grade weapons throughout history, all states that have had like their weapons taken away from them, genocide quickly follows shortly after. So I agree with your sentiments about there being an uproar in the population.
Well, any weapon could be considered an assault weapon, even down to a pencil or a screwdriver. I mean, the ARs basically is named from Armalite. A doesn't stand for assault in ARs, stands for Armalite. And my gun company is NemoArms.com. You can look it up, www.nemoarms.com. And we don't call any of our weapons ARs. We give each weapon a particular name, like our sniper rifle is called the Omen. So the misjudgment, the misnaming of weapons has been absolutely developed by the anti-gun people to scare people.
What is your biggest argument for those people who say that those types of rifles there's no use other than hunting?
Well, it's not true.
Can you elaborate?
It's just not true. They're there to hunt. They're there to train. They're there to shoot, practice shooting, which is a big sport in America, a target practice, for example, but they're also to protect ourselves. So they have them all to use as far as I'm concerned.
In the scenario message traffic, there is this item where there is polls showing Trump will lose. Succession movement, Texit, gets huge support, and it looks like Texas will succeed if Harris wins, citing the federal government violating the Constitution and limits of the 10th Amendment. General Vallely, do you think that this will happen if there is a Democratic victory in November?
Well, you have the split now of the red states and the blue states, and under the 10th Amendment, the states can take certain actions, that's for sure. But we're a split country now. There's no doubt about that, ideologically, religiously, and so on.
So General, you're the leader of the Stand Up America U.S. Foundation. Do you think it's feasible?
Yes, General McInerney and I founded that in Washington, D.C. in 2007, and we're a very broadly based foundation. Publication of books, articles. Our newsletter comes out every Saturday morning. Everybody has access to our website, which is standupamericaus.org. Everybody can use what we publish there. We conduct events. I probably do 4 to 5 radio, TV interviews a week. Of course, I was with Fox News, first military analyst when Roger Ailes hired me 1 week after 9/11. So I've been in the information business for quite a while now, and that's what we're involved in, information warfare now.
In the scenario that we're covering, the Trump campaign vows to enforce the 9th and 10th Amendments, which are effectively ignored by the Congress and the courts of the government at all levels today. And this leads to a surge in libertarian and independent and conservative votes for him. General Vallely, do you have any feel for how the Trump campaign vowing to enforce those constitutional amendments would resonate with voters?
Well, I think by standing by the Constitution, which Trump does, that will validate it unto itself.
Do you think it's feasible or likely to get limited constitutional government back?
Well, we already have it to a degree. We just need a constitutional government as it's written, whether it's limited or whatever. We just need a constitution that's abided by, and we have a great constitution. Yeah, it's a little different than 1776. There's some tweaking that could be done. Our government back then in 1776, George Washington, Jefferson, there was nothing like cyber terror, cyber security attacks, bio attacks. And so all those things didn't exist in 1776. So right now you have many things that can happen to change governments.
General Vallely, are you familiar with Ray Dalio?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
He made his fortune by correctly predicting future events. He estimated that there was a 30% chance of civil war post-election a few years ago, but our simulation raises this odd to 60%. So we have a couple questions for you about this. Do you think that a civil war is likely, and what kind of civil war would that likely be?
I say we're in a civil war already. So we have a real problem. We always thought we could depend on our military to protect us. The military should have taken out the cartels a long time ago. The militarized cartels that have killed thousands of our young people.
And if Harris wins, what kind of civil war do you think that would incur?
An extended civil war, get even worse.
Do you think that there is a way to circumnavigate that, or is it?
No, you have to quell violence. You have to put it down. You have to stop it. If you read my books, we tie it all together. We connect the dots. My latest book out is called The Dismantling of America, and I'll be happy to show you that. But these books we've spent a lot of time on, putting together and tying together what's really happened in America. And I would suggest everybody get these books and read them, because they really explain in detail the treason that's been conducted, not only by individuals, but by organizations within our government, like the CIA, the FBI, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, and so on.
But here on the screen, we have this poll question about asking our participants and the people who are participating in the simulation whether they think that massive violence would ensue or slight of violence would ensue. And we'll have the results on this poll question later on in the week after the simulation is completed.
Well, I'd like to see the results. That would be great.
I know. I'm very curious too what other people think.
Yeah.
What do you see? What kind of civil turmoil do you see happening if there is more momentum getting behind Harris? Like, do you think that there is going to be a breaking point, or?
I'm not assuming she's going to get an increase. I think she's going to go down. But riots, demonstrations, things that we saw before could happen. and the president then declares martial law. So we have a challenge ahead of us, that's for sure. But we got to stand tall. We need a spiritual awakening in America. We've got to get back to honesty, integrity, trust. Stop lying. These politicians that are constantly lying to the American people.
I'll definitely get behind you on that. And that's definitely true. Tomorrow, we're going to have a report on day 3 of the Civil War scenario with more insights on how a civil war could unfold in the United States and how you can be more prepared to deal with the violence that may result from this. General Vallely, thank you so much for coming onto our show today and discussing all of this with us.
Okay. Thank you for your invitation. Take care.
Thank you.